Hey everybody, it's B here, and today I wanted to talk to you about some of the basics of prepping, specifically prepping food. First, if you haven't heard, there's a ton of people on YouTube talking about shit hitting the fan. Basically, no one knows for sure when it's going to happen or what's going to happen, but something is happening, it's happening soon, and it's going to be bad. Some people might label this as fear porn or whatever, but it's not. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just trying to share what I know and what I've seen. Anyway, there's a huge movement in the truther, or whatever you want to call it, community, saying that we're on the brink of something really big and really, really bad, and we need to start preparing for it. For me, I think most people, if you just look at what's going on in the world around us, you can tell something's wrong. All the disasters going on, the political division, things around us just aren't adding up. And there's all these disasters that are happening more and more frequently, and it's scary. You know, it's scary because even people who aren't woke or whatever you want to call it are noticing these things. It's just becoming more and more obvious. I'm not putting a date on it. I don't know when it's going to happen or what exactly is even going to happen for that matter. But, everyone thought that something was going to happen on 11/11, and it's 11/12 now, so nobody knows when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. That's why I'm making this video, because a lot of people on YouTube are saying we need to be prepared, but they're not telling you actually how to do that, or worse, they're giving you wrong information on how to do it. So I'm here to share with you what I've learned over the years from my own experience and what I've heard from talking to people who have experience in this type of thing. I wanted to share this information with you, starting with the basics of prepping food. So, if you haven't started prepping yet, what you're going to want is about 2 to 3 months worth of food at least stored up, and water. You can rotate out the food if you want, but this is just the very basics of what you need to get started with. I'm sure you've all heard of beans and rice being a common staple, and it should be. Why? Well, for starters, it's a lot of food for really cheap. A 20-pound bag of rice at your local Walmart is only $8.43. A 5-pound bag of beans at your local Safeway is $7.99. So that's only $16.42 for about 88 days worth of eating 3 meals a day. How'd I get that? Well, if you go take a 20-pound bag of rice, it's got 201 servings. A 5-pound bag of beans has 65 servings. And that's 266 servings. You go divide that by 3 meals a day, and you get about 88 days. That's not the only reason you should get these for your bug out bag, though. Rice and beans together make a complete protein. What's a complete protein? Basically, there's 9 essential amino acids that form a complete protein, and your body needs all 9 to function properly. Meat is obviously the best way to get complete proteins, but it's perishable and a lot more expensive. Most grains, legumes, and vegetables only have some of the important amino acids necessary. But when you combine grains and legumes, like beans and rice, you get a complete protein that is super cheap and can go a long way. Another great thing about beans, particularly the dried bulk kind, is that they can be used as seeds. That's extremely important if you're going to be in a long-term survival situation. It's important to note, though, that not all bulk beans can be used as seeds, and I'll make a video later on that shows how to determine that. There is, though, a common objection to beans and rice. You need water to cook it. That is a fair objection, because if water is a limited resource, using a large amount of it for cooking might not be possible or smart. Aside from eating them raw, my wife and I found that there is another solution to this. You can use low-sodium chicken stock. Not only will the chicken stock help the flavor of the rice and the beans, but it'll cut down or even eliminate the need for using water to cook. But you need to make sure that it is low sodium, because too much sodium is bad for you in the first place. But when water is a limited resource, the last thing you want to do is pile up on salt. Another thing worth mentioning, though, is that this solution isn't as cost-effective as I wish it was, with the average family-sized chicken stock costing about $3 to $4, which isn't that much, but if you're planning for a long term, $3 to $4 can obviously add up pretty quickly. Another invaluable item to have in your prepper food stash is canned goods, more specifically chili and soup. Why? Well, if we start with chili, 1 can of chili is cheap, it gives you a ton of calories, and it's a great source of protein. With soups, you get a different variety of flavors and a ton of different nutrients to help the day-to-day meals change, which will also help with your sanity on not having rice and beans all the time. Again, with those though, as with any canned things, just be careful with the sodium. Most soups, and especially chilies, have a ton of sodium, which you really want to avoid because too much sodium can lead to dehydration and water retention if you don't have enough fluids, which in a situation like this can be possible. So if you look for reduced sodium cans or anything containing less than 33% of sodium per serving, those will be what would suffice for this. Another tip is you want to have a can opener because yes, you can use a knife to open a can, but it's going to be a lot harder. Or if you don't want to get a can opener, look for the cans that have the little pop top on them because obviously that's in the end just going to be the easiest. So now that you have kind of the basics of what food to have, the next question you're probably asking is, how much food do I need? Technically speaking, you can go anywhere from 40 to 60 days without food, given that you are properly hydrated. And that is despite the common myth that you can only go 2 weeks without food. But staying properly hydrated, obviously in a situation like this, isn't necessarily possible. A very low calorie diet is considered anything below 1,000 calories, so you want to try to stay above 1,000 calories a day. To put that into perspective, 1 serving of white rice is 1 cup cooked, and that gives you 206 calories. A serving of boiled pinto beans is only 22 calories, meaning if you ate 3 servings of rice per day and 1 serving of beans, you're only going to get 640 calories. Obviously, that's not enough if you're trying to stay above 1,000 calories. But say you were to eat 2 meals of beans and rice and 1 can of Denison's chili with beans, you'd have eaten 1,132 calories. Why? Because most chili per can has about 500 to 700 calories. And on top of that, if you switched out 1 of those servings of rice for a can of soup, you can add on about another 100 calories to your whole thing, bringing you up to over 1,200 calories. So basically what I'm getting at is you need a variety of foods to keep you alive and well when shit hits the fan. And like I said, also kind of sane too, so you're not just being repetitive all the time. And trust me though, it will hit the fan, and it is going to happen sooner than a lot of us are hoping. So it's better to prep now and prep smart than to wait until it's too late to even start it. Thanks for watching my video, and if you learned something new, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If I missed anything, feel free to comment below, and I'll see you next time.